Hi 56, welcome back to writing for week 6, and today I'm going to take you through how to complete our plan for our new persuasive writing piece, which is titled Healthy Food is Better Than Junk Food. But before I do that, I'm going to take a quick review on what some of our big ideas are. Because remember, we have been focusing on persuasive writing for most of this term, and it's really important to understand, what a big idea is, why we include a big idea, and also obviously some examples of what some of the big ideas are. So that's what we're going to quickly do today. What are the big ideas? A big idea adds depth to your persuasive writing, and it links your writing to the big picture. We've been focusing on looking at the main idea in our reading, so you can think of the big ideas as similar to being the main ideas. And obviously every argument will link to a big idea. So let's have a look at what some of the big ideas are, and then I'll give you some examples of some of the big ideas that you could use for your persuasive writing piece this week. The first one we've got here is health and safety. Another big idea that relates closely to health and safety also is our happiness and well-being, because when we talk about our health these days, a lot of the time we're talking about our mental health, which, as I said, relates really closely to our happiness and well-being. The next big idea we have here is the environment. As you can see there from the picture, we're talking about our flora, our fauna, and we've got some examples of even some renewable energy resources there. The next one is all about school life and learning, or education. This is a big idea that relates really closely to you, obviously being students at school. Next one is economy, so that's all about our money and our finances. We can see a sad looking dog there. That big idea is animal welfare. And finally, we've got justice and fairness. So just some quick tips. The first one is only focus on one big idea per argument. So for example, for my first argument, if I'm going to focus on the economy, I won't then bring something like health and safety into it. I'll save that for maybe my second argument or my second paragraph. The next one is that different big ideas will work well or better for different topics. So the example I've got there is a big idea for animal welfare. It may work well for a topic such as animals should not be kept in cages, but it wouldn't be really effective for a topic such as all students should wear school uniforms. There's not really a direct link there with school uniforms and animal welfare. And last quick tip I've got there is to briefly state what your big ideas are in your introduction, and then expand on them in your paragraphs by including arguments that actually relate to your big idea. So for example, it wouldn't be acceptable just to say in my first argument that this topic has a severe effect on people's health and safety and leave it at that. You would need to tell me, well, why does it have a severe effect on people's health and safety? And they would actually be your arguments, okay? And that's why it's really important to also plan effectively, because if you've got a really good plan with some arguments already in mind, when you go to start your actual paragraph for your first argument, it'll be easy because all of your ideas will already be stored away in your plan, and it's just a matter of then expanding on those, adding some powerful strategies and adding some powerful vocab as well. So what we'll do now is I'll take you through a little document that I've just come up with a list of big ideas and some arguments that may relate to the topic that we're focusing on this week, which is obviously healthy food is better than junk food. Let's take a look. So I've just quickly come up with a few examples of some arguments that may relate to the following big ideas, and also arguments that relate specifically to our writing piece this week, which is healthy food is better than junk food. So let's have a look at the first one, health and safety. Well, healthy food gives you vitamins and nutrients that you need to learn, play and sleep. You could become obese and have severe health problems, diabetes, heart conditions, etc. Your teeth will become rotten and decayed from eating too much junk food. Happiness and well-being, your mood will become unhappy, grumpy, frustrated, irritated if you don't eat properly. You're more likely to suffer from depression because you're overweight and uncomfortable. So again, there's a link between happiness and well-being and health and safety. Family and friends, and that's one that I didn't actually mention before in my PowerPoint. Forgot all about that one, looking at this now. Mood swings, temper tantrums can cause arguments with people because you're eating junk food, which can release too much sugar into your body. You interact less with your friends and family. You feel lonely because you don't have enough energy. You get to play and keep up with your friends because you have energy and want to be active. That could be a positive aspect of it. You get to play and be active. If you eat healthy food, you learn to cook together. You can spend time learning from your parents and having fun. So there's some positive and negative aspects that I've included there under family and friends. The other one I've got here is educational, school life and learning. You need a proper breakfast. Students are not focused on their learning if they don't have a proper breakfast or maybe have an unhealthy breakfast. Students get cranky because they're not eating properly and not getting enough sleep. Again, that sort of relates to some of those temper tantrums. And eating brain foods such as fruit during class can help you function better. That's why I allow people to have some fruit or vegetables during class, because I really think that it helps you to focus and concentrate more. The last couple I've got there, some quick ones. The environment / Mother Nature. Junk food wrappers kill flora and fauna and destroys the environment. And pollution from factories that produce processed foods also destroy the environment. And economic there, it's very expensive for your family to be eating junk food all the time. And we also need to support local Australian farmers because they might go out of business, unfortunately, if we don't support them and keep on buying junk food from these overseas companies in particular. And the last two I've got there is justice and fairness and animal welfare. Again, I don't think they relate really well to this particular topic of healthy food is better than junk food. So I've decided not to really focus on them too much. And that relates back to the first point that I mentioned in the PowerPoint, that sometimes particular big ideas just will not relate to the topic that you're talking about. So let's now have a look at how you need to structure your plan for this week. So this is the plan for this week. As you can see, I've put it into a table, a little bit different to how I've showed you how I've structured my plan in previous videos. But for the introduction, as usual, we need to set the scene, hook with an anecdotal story, start off with a VIP word, introduce the topic that we're trying to persuade the audience about, effectively state our opinion or our contention, and then we need to list our two, and I've got in brackets or three, which I'll explain in a minute, big ideas briefly to inform the reader of your thoughts, and then we need to end with a powerful sentence. So the reason why I've got 2 or 3 big ideas briefly is because this week I'm going to give you the option to actually write 3 arguments. So the expectation is that you only have to include 2 arguments, argument 1 and argument 2 in your piece. But I know there are some people who have been asking me about ways to extend themselves. And for those people, you are more than welcome to also include an argument 3. You obviously have to do that after you complete your argument 2. And then just send that through to us as well. But that is certainly optional for this week. But for those people that would like to extend themselves, I've actually included 3 arguments in my class story for this week. And you'll also notice in my introduction that I'll obviously mention 3 big ideas. If you are only sticking to the 2 arguments this week, you obviously need to include 2 big ideas in your writing piece and briefly state those 2 big ideas in your introduction. You can see there I've got some VIP words that I can select from, some persuasive vocab that I can select from as well, just a list of what the big ideas are that I can choose from, and just a reminder to include some red and green words as well. I will actually link this file to the class story as well, so you've got a copy of this planner to help yourself as well. I haven't actually stated what my arguments are that relate to my big ideas are in this planner, because remember, I already did that above when we talked about some of the arguments that relate to our big ideas for our persuasive writing this week. So I won't go through that, but you do need to grab the reader's attention immediately. In argument 1, think of a strong point of view and followed with well-developed reasons or a detailed explanation. So how do we structure it? Start with persuasive language. We've got some examples there. Link it to a big idea. My big idea for this one's going to be health and safety. Remember, you do not have to focus on the same big ideas that I am. You can select your own from. Maybe it's a good idea to look above and see what works best for you. When I say look above, I'm talking about that stuff there, which again I'll give you a copy of as well. We state our arguments that relate to a big idea, give examples that you can visualize, and the way that we can do that is through our use of vocabulary. So some of that lovely descriptive vocab, some of those red words, some of those green words, and not necessarily red or green words, just some lovely words that we can describe different things so that you can give the reader that visual image that we're looking for. You obviously need to give reasons for your opinion. That's obvious. I'd like you to include some statistics, and remember, we need to make sure that they link to an expert or an organisation as well. And then we always need to end with a powerful sentence. That could be a strong statement or possibly a rhetorical question. You'll see that I've got that at the end of argument 1, 2, and 3. That's up to you. You might want to maybe end with just a powerful sentence for argument 1, maybe switch it up with a rhetorical question for argument 2. I won't go into great detail here because remember, we basically follow the same structure. We start with our persuasive language, link it to a big idea, okay? Give some arguments, reasons for our opinion, stats. I've also got here, though, that you can extend yourself by including a rebuttal. Again, that is optional, but for those people that want to extend themselves, a clever way to do that is to include a rebuttal. Always makes your paragraph stronger or your argument stronger. And then, again, ending with a powerful sentence, strong statement, or rhetorical question. I've just repeated that for the environment, which is my next big idea for argument 3. Remember our optional paragraph. And then finally on to the conclusion. For some reason my title went down below instead of up top. That's all good. For our conclusion, we start with persuasive language to restate, reiterate, to recapitulate. We then restate our contention, briefly restate our major arguments or big ideas, and then link back to our original anecdote in a positive way. If you started in a negative way with your original anecdote, but just say, for example, if your original anecdote was a positive situation, then you would possibly end with a negative situation and then go positive after that by summing up your reasons and convincing the reader of your opinion. And then with the coda, remember, we close our text with a powerful strategy or message that affects, delights, or enlightens the reader. And the expectations for there, only one sentence for that one. I've put an aim for probably 6 to 10 sentences at a minimum for our other paragraphs. But again, if you would like to extend yourself, absolutely fantastic. Third column is just what devices have you used or what powerful strategies have you used. That's just maybe a good idea to list down the strategies that you're using in each paragraph to, well, A, ensure that you are actually including some powerful strategies, and B, making sure that maybe you're not using the same strategy over and over again. You might see that you're using similes in every paragraph. Maybe you may look to change it up in the next paragraph if that's the case. So I hope that helps you today, guys. I'll be back again tomorrow with a video on how to complete our introduction for this piece. Looking forward to seeing your wonderful plans. Hope all is well, and we'll see you tomorrow for the next video. Take care. Bye.